Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charleston, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And boy, oh boy, we cannot wait to produce this show today. So make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Now, I'm sure many of you are fully aware that Draymond Green is probably the most outspoken player that the NBA has going right now, right? Or at least one of them at the very least. Ever since Draymond Green became a member of the media, he has been going at anyone who seems to have a different opinion from him or that says anything that may not be positive about him. All you have to do is look at the video that he produced about Mad Dog Russo. Then there's the other exchange that he had with a reporter, when the reporter asked him, like, hey, Draymond, do you think that you're giving a little bit too much information in some of these episodes of your show? Maybe other teams, opposing teams are picking. He was pushing back on that one. Then he was up there talking about, y'all gonna get this podcast. Y'all gonna get this podcast. Y'all gonna get this podcast, right? So Draymond Green has been, he's pretty much had a lot to say, right? He's had a lot to say. And for whatever reason, most voices in media seem to be unwilling or afraid to talk about Draymond Green. They seem to be afraid to kind of go at him, and they've lowered the bar so low for Draymond Green that they're actually trying to make sense. They're actually trying to intellectualize his terrible basketball numbers in these NBA finals. But there's one person that's definitely not going to go for it. And today I was listening to an episode of First Things First, and Steven Jackson was on there, and he gave his 2 cents on the analysis that Chris Broussard put forward, because Chris Broussard was trying to make an argument saying, oh, no, you don't understand. Draymond is not a numbers guy. He's a this type of guy. And Steven Jackson let him say his piece, and then he totally dismantled it. So for those of you who missed that exchange, take a listen to what Chris Broussard had to say first, then take a listen to what Steven Jackson had to say about that. Take a listen to that here. We're going to come back and react to it.
We can't just look at the numbers with Draymond. We know his game has never been just defined by numbers. But he is playmaking better, right? He's had some nice passes. Even in game 4 at the end of the game, had 2 big assists late. In the game, he was quote-unquote benched. But my focus, and that game, you know what else? 5 offensive rebounds. They had been killed in game 3 on the glass. He has 9 rebounds, 5 of them offensive, they led to buckets, many of them as well. But my focus stack is on the defense. And we know that Draymond has done a good job on Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. All right. He's held Jaylen Brown down ever since Brown embarrassed him at, I think it was game 3 at the beginning. He's woke up on the defensive end. But here's my point, Stack. Golden State is playing tremendous defense these last 2 games. They held Boston under 100 points. They held them to an offensive rating of about 100 points for the 2 games and about 40% shooting from the floor. Milwaukee and Miami could not do that. Who's responsible? We know Steph is not a great defender. Clay is not the defender he used to be. Jordan Poole is a poor defender. How are they doing this? Kevon Looney played 17 minutes in game 5. So Draymond, Wiggins, but by himself? Wiggins and Draymond and Gary Payton Jr. the second, when he's out there, is a good defender, but he's a part-time player. So Draymond and Wiggins are anchoring this defense, and that is why Golden State is up 3-2. It's not because of the offense, because they're not lighting it up offensively. So my point is Draymond defensively, Stack, has been very good these last 2 games, and that's what Kerr's talking about.
Yeah, Kerr has to say these things. They're in the middle of a dogfight. They have a chance to win the championship. So the last thing you want to do is take Draymond's confidence and say he's playing like trash. But in all actuality, we all know Draymond is lucky as hell to be playing with Steph and Klay Thompson. He's having a terrible series. That's my little brother, and I love him to death. But what we're doing is we're expecting something different from Draymond that he's not capable of. Draymond's great at being the hardest playing person on the court. That's what he does for his team.
That's right.
He plays hard. He brings the energy. He gets in guys' face, and that's his best asset. He plays harder than everybody. Good things happen when you play hard. You know, he play hard on offense, but he just doesn't have that skill. We have to look at him as Ben Simmons in that fact. He has no offensive skill, but he does play hard. And the best thing for him to do is play hard, make defensive plays, and try to do what he can to make an input on the game playing hard. But as far as playing well, he has not been doing that. And if anybody says that outside of Steve Kerr, I don't know what they've been watching. But Steve Kerr has to say that because they want to get him away from the NBA Finals.
Every single thing that Steven Jackson said about Draymond Green is 100% correct. Let's pull up Draymond Green's stats. I feel like we've talked about everything these playoffs except Draymond Green's numbers. He's done a good job at making us talk about everything except his numbers. Let's talk about Draymond Green's numbers in the playoffs so far. In 21 games, Draymond Green is averaging 7.8 points per game, shooting 48% from the field, 17.6% from three, 63.8% from the free throw line, getting you 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 2.6 turnovers, 1 steal, 1 block, and 4 personal fouls per game. Let's talk about his numbers in the NBA Finals. Let's focus on the actual performance. Let's focus on the stats. Draymond Green in 5 games in the NBA Finals is averaging a whopping 5 points per game, 7.2 rebounds, 1.6 steals, 0.4 in blocks, 2 turnovers a game, 1.8 field goals made. Think about this. Draymond Green is shooting in the NBA Finals 28.1%. He's shooting 0% from the three-point line. He has not made a single three. He's attempted 11. He's shooting, what is he shooting from the free throw line? 58.3% from the free throw line and averaging 4.8 personal fouls per game. Those are Draymond Green's numbers. For as bad as Ben Simmons was last season, in the playoffs, he was not as bad as Draymond Green. Ben Simmons in the playoffs last year averaged, what did he average? 11.9 points per game, 12 points per game, 62% shooting from the field, 34% shooting from the free throw line. He didn't make any threes, but he got you 7.9 rebounds, 8.8 assists, 1.3 steals, and only 2.3 turnovers a game. So for as bad as Ben Simmons was, he was actually much better, almost twice as good, at least if we're talking from a PPG standpoint, than Draymond Green. And here's what really annoys me. Let me say it again. Let me tell you guys what really, really annoys me about Draymond Green. Draymond Green talks trash like as if he is a great player. Draymond Green is not even a top 15 player in the NBA, but he talks trash like he is. I cannot think of any top 10, top 15, hell, top 20 basketball player that talks as much trash as Draymond Green. And you heard what he said. Draymond Green should be counting his lucky stars and counting his blessings that he plays with Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson. That's what you really should be doing, counting your blessings. But these playoffs, and especially these finals, Draymond Green is known more for what he has been saying and his antics on the court than his actual basketball play. We've spent more time talking about his podcast and what he said about this and what he said about that than his actual basketball play on the court. And he has done a fantastic job of changing the narrative. Has nothing to do with his actual play. He'll play terribly, so I'll play like trash and come out there and start running his mouth. I've never seen somebody that plays this poorly that talks that much trash. And here is the irony in all of this. Here's the irony. Y'all know that Draymond Green said he's the new media. We're the new media, right? We're the new media. What's the new media? The new media is basically the old media. The new media to him is when basketball players come up there, and give you a real analysis on what's really going on, where you have guys that really, really, really can explain. Like I said, for over the last few years, we haven't had Tim Legler. We haven't had Steven Jackson. We haven't had Kendrick Perkins. We haven't had Kenyon Martin. We haven't had Katino Mobley. We haven't had Delonte West. We haven't had all of these former NBA players. We haven't had Antoine Walker. We haven't had all of these guys. In his mind, he's the first one that's coming out here talking about basketball. Meanwhile, we've had a litany. We haven't had Charles Barkley. We haven't had Shaquille O'Neal. We haven't had Kenny Smith. In Draymond Green's mind, he is the Christopher Columbo of NBA players talking about basketball. It is unreal. Here's the irony in all of this. He said, we're the new media where we're going to give you guys a sophisticated take on basketball because you guys clearly don't understand it because you didn't play it. And here you have another basketball player calling your play garbage. He said you're playing like trash. And here's the kicker. We didn't need Steven Jackson to tell us that you're playing like trash. We can all understand that with our no basketball knowledge having selves. All of us could understand that we didn't need Steven Jackson to say that. Draymond Green. He said it he said it because he's on a bigger platform, but you don't need to be a rocket scientist to understand this. And now what I would love to hear is, are y'all gonna go at Steven Jackson the way y'all was going at Mad Dog Russo and all? Because before, y'all was going at people in the media because, oh, these guys don't know what they're talking about. So go at Steven Jackson. Go at him. You can't say he don't know what he's talking about because he's a basketball player too. And this is why that statement was idiotic from the beginning. It was idiotic from the beginning. You were acting like as if you were this new guy. People were already talking about. Last time I checked, Charles Barkley was talking about that, and he's way more entertaining. And he says a lot more insightful things than the stuff Draymond Green is talking about. So I just think it is beautiful. It's beautiful. So us with our no basketball knowledge having selves, we weren't able to understand that you're playing bad until Steven Jackson told us no. It's clear to him. It's clear to us. He can see it. What is it? Nick Wright can see it. Steven Jackson can see it. I can see it. The viewers can see it. I hope you see it too. Those are my thoughts and opinions on that. Catch y'all on the next episode. Peace.